We'll send it. Alright, here is series number 2 of what I've decided to call Zach's Bootcamp. Very exciting. Bethany is our guest, second guest. We got Jeff. Last time we did 3 episodes. It was real good. We're going to start a new series. We got Bethany. So, first off, we'll talk about your experience with exercising sports in the past.
Well, I've played sports like since I was a kid, mainly soccer. I started that since I was like 6, 7, 8, around there. Went up to high school, did it. Also played tennis in high school. I ran track for a year. Didn't really like running.
What was your event?
I did the 800.
800, so that's 2
laps. Yeah.
So half a mile. Okay.
Yeah.
Wasn't your thing though?
No.
Did you like running, playing soccer?
Yeah, I like running in soccer, not running.
You play anymore? Well, you're.
I played indoor for a little bit, but then I got injured.
Yeah. Which comes, that's our next topic.
Yeah.
You had an ACL injury while playing soccer.
Yes.
So how does that affect you now?
Well, now I don't really have as much confidence, shifting or even trying to play full force again.
What do you mean by shifting?
Like
shifting your weight on that side?
Like shifting direction.
Oh,
so
change direction.
Yeah. I kind of have a low confidence with that. I also like my muscle mass. I can feel it. Like one's not as strong as the other.
You said there's a discrepancy on the sides of muscle mass. Strength too? You feel a difference in strength?
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else going on with that? PT. You've done PT?
Yeah, I did PT.
Are you still doing that, or how long were you doing for?
I did for like a year and a half.
That's a solid amount of PT.
Yeah.
Man, most people do PT at the Y. When I meet with people, they mess up a joint or whatever, and they said they did PT for like a couple months, if that.
Yeah.
And then they're just off on their own, and they don't keep up with the exercises, and they're right back where it started. So at least you're doing did it for a significant amount of time, and because granted it's not 100%. Did they ever say where you're going to be at, going in the future? Did they say you'll always be dealing with this, or
no? They said if I'm consistent with it, that my it'd be back to normal, just the muscle mass within 2 years.
Okay.
But yeah, so we still have a while to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, but activity-wise, they said I'm good to go. I just have to be careful.
Activities in sports,
yeah.
Actually playing soccer.
Yeah.
Just people.
But I still have the
because mentally,
low confidence.
what was do you remember the play or what you were doing when it happened?
Well, I was kind of guarding the ball, and some guy came from behind.
Guy took you.
Yeah.
So he just took you out from underneath?
Yeah.
Okay. So, are you mainly play defense?
No, I was more forward.
So I get some kind of sports psychology part of it. You feel timid in those kind of situations, and you're not having all your concentration on what's going on in the play. Everyone's I'm just scared of my knee. So you got to build up that confidence. Okay. So you have experience with playing soccer, but what about gym experience? How long you been working out in the gym, and what's kind of consistent?
So I think before I got injured, I was going pretty much 3 to 5 times a week.
That's good. For how long?
For how long? For an hour.
Oh, sorry, and time, that you're going to the gym.
Okay, so throughout the school year, it was a little challenging, but
yeah, I always see you in a lab. What's your major?
Oh, I'm in molecular biology.
Oh, that sounds awful.
But I'm graduating. So.
I wish I was. I still got another year. But anyways, Yeah, so that's probably pretty demanding. So it's hard to get into the gym.
Yeah. I was doing HIIT classes at school though.
That's cool. At the rec?
Yeah.
Okay. Who was your teacher? Do you know? Was it a guy?
No, it was a girl.
Oh, okay, darn it. Because I have a friend who's Jade, and he teaches HIIT classes there, or he was.
I was doing that twice a week. I was
That's good.
going to Hawaii. Like, well, the days I would do HIIT, I wouldn't go to Hawaii. And then, so yeah, I'd go to Hawaii like 2 or 3 times a week.
Okay. And then the HIIT.
Yeah.
That's good. All right, cool. Next question. What are your goals? What are you trying to get out of training?
Out of training, I'm trying to, again,
Obviously,
build up my quads. I'd also like to strengthen my hamstrings because I was told that I have pretty weak hamstrings.
How'd they determine that? What they do?
They just did a couple of like strength tests.
Do you remember like what kind of tests they were? Like a deadlift, or maybe like a leg curl.
Deadlifts. I was doing the Nordic
hamstring curls.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was pretty bad at those.
Those are tough. Those are really tough. Those are probably so with the hamstring. It's a what's it called? A biarticulate muscle. A little bit of science there for you. Kinesiology. Going to college. So it articulates the knee and the hip. So there's hip dominant hamstring exercises like a deadlift, and there's knee dominant like a hamstring curl or a Nordic hamstring curl. So those two tests make sense. A deadlift, which is a hip dominant, and then a Nordic, which is a knee dominant. So that's good to know. And we'll add some hamstring exercises. What were we talking about before? Oh yeah, goals. So strengthen the quad, hamstrings, and then earlier you said also upper body.
Yeah, because I suck at upper body, so.
Okay.
I just want to get better.
What do you mean by suck?
I don't know. When it comes to like upper body, I'm not very motivated to do it.
Okay.
Because
I hear that from a lot of
ladies.
Don't enjoy acting.
Yeah, like when I do legs, like I like the feeling, I guess.
Right.
But then when I do upper body, I don't like this feeling.
Okay.
But I've been trying. I recently bought a notebook, and I've been logging everything I've been doing.
That's real good.
So like when I do work out, I have a plan now.
That's real good.
I never really had before. So.
Do you like write down your goals? Like you said, hamstrings, quads, trying to work out the upper body more. Do you have those like written down in your log?
Yeah. Okay. I don't have it written down.
Well, for you and the people at home, I would recommend, log is a really good start, because when you're working out, it's impossible to remember what you've done, just like a week ago. It's like, what I do. So having a log, you can look back and see what you did, and it helps with progression, increasing the intensity of your exercises. But also, I would recommend putting your goals, because writing down your goals, you're much more likely to achieve them than just thinking about them. Because I always say thoughts are fleeting. You might be real focused on it, and you're like, I know this. All right, send it. Whoa. Balance, eh? Front view. Last one. All right, cool, perfect. So no compensations or anything, so that's good. Nothing to really fix there. I was really particularly watching that knee, because when you lack stability in your knee, the mobility in your ankle or your hip can kind of go. So, but I didn't really see that, so that's good. Perfect. All right, so we're just gonna do some warm-ups here, as we've done in past videos. Before you warm up, or before you work out, you always want to warm up. Get the heart rate up, get the breathing rate up, get a little bit of heat in the muscles, reduce your chance of injuries. Same old. and then we'll get into the workout. Alright, so the first exercise we're doing here, it's almost more of like a mobility and stability exercise, but it's working the stability of the knee and also the mobility of the hips. As you can see, she's opening it up. They're called hip airplanes. I don't know if I said that already. But this is a real good one for, rehabbing any kind of hamstring, quad, knee injury, and just getting used to the stability. Do 2 more, and then we'll switch sides. And if you're not able to do them just body weight, I can switch sides. Just turn to 180, perfect. If you're not able to just do them just body weight, so this is going to be a little more challenging side, right? Because the left side is the one with the injury. If you're not able to do them just body weight, you can use like a pull or something to kind of help you with the stability, as with any other single leg exercise. Alright, we're already off to the races. What we're going to do first like full exercise is a hamstring dominant exercise, like we said we want to focus on. And there's many different names for this, but a B stance, RDL, split stance, kickstand stance, all of them work. Normally I just do bilateral movement like a regular RDL, but since we talked about we want to focus on single leg strength, you want to do some kind of single leg. So I didn't want to progress straight to the single leg RDLs, so that's why we're doing the B stance. That was one side, perfect. Now we'll do a little bit weaker side, and we'll see kind of the discrepancy in strength and how it feels differently. The movement looks good though. Good hip hinge. Used to doing deadlifts and PT, right? So she's got a good movement pattern, which is solid. All right. So when you're doing it before. So see how you were doing that and your left hip opened up? When you hold it in the opposite hand, it requires your core to stabilize more and you're not able to open up your hips, which you don't want. You want your hips and your shoulders to stay square throughout the full range of motion. And not let the hip open up. So the B stance were just a little too easy and we only have a certain amount of resistance here. So we're gonna just decrease stability by just going full single leg, which is going to increase the difficulty, obviously. And these are looking really solid. This is obviously the more stable leg, the right. So you can see her right ankle is doing a lot of movement there to stabilize, which is real good. No, that's good. That's real good. You have what's called proprioception, which is really important with single leg exercises, to be able to manipulate your joints without really necessarily having to look at them. A little off balance there, but that's alright. These are looking real solid.
And that's good, that's real good. So now we'll go to the other side, So bouncing on the left, holding on the right, and we'll see how you do on this side. Really keep that core nice and stable. Don't let those hips open up. Very good, very good. Feeling that stretch in the hamstrings. Ready? Okay, good. And you see the same thing on this side too, the left ankle. Doing a lot of motion, stabilize, which is ideal. That's good. So not losing any proprioception, and even balance is looking pretty good too. As soon as I say that, she loses the balance, but that's okay. Oh, that was it.
So we are going to do a Spanish squat. You just want to back so there's no slack. It's a thick band, so it's gonna be hard to get like a lot of attention on it, but you just want it to not have any slack. And then just squat like normal, hips back, knees track with the toes, down as deep as you can, feel comfortable with. And so I'll explain it for the camera, even though I just explained it to you, is the idea behind a Spanish squat is the band is pulling on your knee joint and putting less stress on your ligaments, particularly the ACL, because that's the one we're trying to focus on not putting too much strain on because of the injury. And neuromuscular drive and also effort. It's not putting in less effort because the band's there. It's still lifting your body weight because gravity's still there, you know. So feel comfortable with it? All right, cool. All right, and we're going for our first full set, and look at that. It was pretty, 12 to 15. Real good depth there, real solid. So really all we're just trying to really focus on is just strengthening the muscle as much as possible without putting too much stress on the knee. Bethany said earlier that she does a lot of single leg squats to like into a box. So that's the same kind of concept as doing the B stance RDL or the single leg RDL, is you're isolating, so you're strengthening. This is a bilateral movement, which you want to do some of them. But you know, the band is the reason behind this one. And there we go, perfect.
Good, good, good. Perfect. Looking solid. Almost there, almost there. Boom, perfect. Cool. You can pop out. So, how do you feel like that? Knee bugging you at all, or? Cool. Maybe turn that aside.
Alright, so next we're going to move to some upper body. Bethany do some bent over rows. So try and pull more towards the hips backwards. Yeah, that's good, perfect. Really want to focus on the squeeze of the shoulder blades at the top of the range of motion and engaging the core, especially the low back, because it's the main stabilizer for this movement. This is a real good bent over position. Can't remember if I talked about it last time, but oftentimes when people do these, they start to kind of come upright too much, and perfect. And you know, it's a free weight exercise, so you're pulling against gravity. So if you're staying too upright and you're pulling up, you're using your shoulders and your traps too much. But that was real good, perfect.
The thing was that once they added in that glove rule, I think that really like soured a lot of people. Because that Monday, I think it was 2 Mondays ago, the first day they made that rule. I heard from the wellness coaches that some people, they came in and they just like on the spot, like that morning, couldn't cancel memberships. Yeah. Because it's just such a hassle, you know? It's just like, good. Last set, finish strong, finish strong.
Alright, so doing a floor press, I recommend just moving your elbows forward just a little bit. Yeah, like at a 45-degree angle. That's good right there. That's better for shoulder health. I'll explain it when you're done. This is real good. You want to focus on squeezing the shoulder blades. Have a little arch in the low back, keeping the core engaged, feet flat on the ground.
Nice and stable. Looking good. This is our pressing exercise for the day.
So move your elbows back to where you were, like at that 90-degree angle. So right there, when you're going down, it's not as big of a deal when you're doing a floor press because of the ground, it restricts the range of motion. But say you're doing a press, you can stand up, or unless you want to keep laying down. Unless you're, you know, it's more of a problem when you're doing a bench press on a bench because your elbows can go down deeper, but it's going to cause impingement in your shoulder because your elbow, when it's far back like that, I've talked about this a lot of times, but it causes bursitis, inflammation in the bursa, because your acromion squeezes against your collarbone, and it squeezes that. And if you do it enough, especially with a loaded, like what we're doing now, you can cause impingement in your shoulder and bursitis. So if you just move your elbow forward just a little bit, then the humerus can move smoothly and won't cause any problems. So yeah, a little bit of science there for you. So I'll just say it for the camera too. This is for any pressing exercise, not just a horizontal press, like a floor press or a chest press or like a barbell bench press. This is also for like incline or even overhead press. You always want that elbow at least at a 45 and move it tighter to the body the more tricep dominant you want it to be.
This is depending on the goals. This is real good here. Good elbow padding. Boom. last set. Perfect. Good elbow path. Perfect, perfect. Finish strong last set here. Almost there. Boom. Perfect. That's it.